Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has condemned Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu for halting aid and causing civilian casualties in Gaza, calling the situation completely unacceptable. Albanese criticized the ongoing violence and Israel's settlement expansion, urging a change in strategy. Albanese emphasized the need for a two-state solution with a demilitarized Palestinian state free of Hamas and a secure Israel recognized by its neighbors to end the cycle of violence and protect innocent lives on both sides. UN agencies have sounded the alarm after medical sources in Gaza reported that over 100 children have died from malnutrition since the war began in October 2023. The UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs described the toll as a catastrophic milestone and called for immediate global action. The World Food Programme warned that over 300,000 children are at severe risk, while a third of Gaza's population endures days without food. Norway's $2 trillion sovereign wealth fund GAS announced it will continue divesting from Israeli companies amid the worsening humanitarian situation in Gaza and the West Bank. The fund recently sold its stake in Israeli jet engine firm Bet Shemesh Engines Limited Company, which services Israel's armed forces, and ended contracts with some external managers handling Israeli investments. NBIM CEO Nikolai Tangin said the fund expects to divest from more Israeli companies and acknowledged they should have monitored these investments more closely earlier. The fund, one of the world's largest investors, holds stakes in over 60 Israeli companies and manages Norway's oil and gas revenues globally. President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi has met with Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni to discuss strengthening bilateral ties and regional cooperation on Nile water management. President el-Sisi emphasized Egypt's commitment to protecting its water share, vital for over 100 million on water management, agriculture, investment and diplomacy, including a $6 million 5-year deal on integrated water resources. Egypt also pledged support for Uganda's Angololo Dam project. They agreed to boost economic cooperation through a joint business council and continue security collaboration. El-Sisi reassured Egyptians of Egypt's firm stance against any threats to its water security, highlighting ongoing diplomatic efforts for fair cooperation among Nile nations. Jordan has hosted senior U.S. and Syrian officials to discuss Syria's reconstruction following the ouster of former President Bashar al-Assad in December after years of conflict. Syrian Foreign Minister Asad al-Shibani and U.S. envoy Thomas Barrack met in Amman to explore support for rebuilding efforts. The talks come a day after Syria signed $14 billion in reconstruction deals, including a $4 billion airport project with Qatar's UCC Holding and $2 billion subway agreement with the UAE state firm. European Union foreign ministers met via video conference to discuss the upcoming US-Russia summit in Alaska this Friday, focusing on the potential for a ceasefire in Ukraine. EU High Representative Kaja Kallas stressed that no concessions should be made without a comprehensive, unconditional ceasefire first, followed by effective monitoring and security guarantees. Kallas also announced EU member states are drafting the 19th round of sanctions against Russia. Separately, a multi-party Video conference is scheduled for Wednesday, involving EU leaders, Ukrainian President Zelensky and US President Trump, to prepare for talks and discuss peace, territorial issues, and European security.